the extra $50 and you have something to entertain yourself.
Yeah, I like hitch my wagon to the Blu-ray versus the HD DVD. I was like, no, I think Blu-ray's gonna win. I'll go that route.
My mess is showing up.
You picked the right horse on that one.
There we go. Yeah, yeah. One of the few times I've ever like done like gambling and I've won.
All right, now we're finally live now, streaming live, the dinner table show.
Whoa.
How's it going, John?
Oh, not too bad. I figured I'd call in for a little bit.
Excellent.
How are you?
How's it going?
Good. Yeah, it didn't know there was a cue card. Go live.
Oh no, it just goes live whenever.
4-letter words or something like that.
You don't do the thing like Wayne's World, be like 4, 3.
Yeah.
Nope, there's no intro to this show. It's just naturally we're just talking, and I start recording. That's it. And it's streaming, and in fact, I just remembered that I actually didn't post this one to the podcast streams. So I mean, it's live, and you can watch the recording on YouTube, but I never posted the last show, the pre E3 show. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, yep. So post E3, what do you guys think? I mean,
I enjoyed D3 because I thought they were good. They were going to like grand slam. Thank you, ma'am. I mean, they were knocking it out the park. What else I saw, I enjoyed it.
right?
It sucked at the end of the day, so I got to see nothing of it. But like all y'all like, the post in the Discord, so I appreciate everything y'all were posting because y'all were keeping me into. And so, but it was yeah, I was definitely watching it later. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I watched Nintendo's whole presentation, and that was everything great. I was like, yep, gonna buy that. Yep, gonna buy that one too. Yeah, that one. Oh, Advance Wars, never played that the first time around. Yeah, okay, that's another purchase. Super Monkey Ball, yep, missed that one. Yep, gonna buy that too. Pass on Just Dance, but everything else, yeah, I'll take it. So, I was really, I was really happy with it. I also picked up was it the Demon Throttle?
I did too.
I had to jump at that one. So I was a huge fan of Pocky and Rocky back in the day, and that just gave me huge vibes from that. So yeah,
Nice.
I was happy. I missed the Xbox and Square Enix and a few others I didn't get a chance to watch, but from what I saw, I was psyched.
It's a good thing you missed that Square Enix one.
That's actually the only fucking
I didn't watch any live.
As we talk about the Square Enix one, Jesse pops on here.
Right? Yeah, he can speak a lot to that.
Wait. But we already knew about the Dragon Quest HD 2D, the Dragon Quest 3 2D HD. That looks sick, but we knew that
I wasn't expecting Dragon Quest stuff at E3 at all. That's why they burned it last month. But yeah, that Final Fantasy stuff pissed me off.
Global.
Wasn't that the stuff that was came like flashcards too? It was like little 5-second like bam 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 bam. And they kind of how they showed it.
Yeah, they showed basically the like box art from the Famicom and Super Famicom games. So I didn't recognize all of them, but I recognized 2 and recognized 4.
Yeah, I appreciate you posting that stuff later because I was like, I have no idea these games really got to show it so fast I can't really digest it.
Hey Solo, by the way, they're saying in the streaming that they can't hear you very well.
Is it better now? Am I coming through better?
A little bit. I don't know if it's because you're just low on your mic side or what, but it sounds like a little low.
I had to actually change my mic settings on Discord when I came on because it was all they jacked it out.
Is that better?
Yes, it is a lot better there. So,
Oh, okay.
yep. So yeah, that's in fact, Nintendo Pals was rating us while you were talking, and then they were like, "We can't hear Solo."
Oh yeah. They. I'm always like guilty of like not moving the mic too close to my mouth, and they can tell you that some of the guys they do the Fortnite with and Nintendo pals, and like they can tell you like sometimes I'm worried that people can hear me breathing on my mic, and I don't want to have that like hot mic like annoy people, and so I'll keep the mic away from my mouth. They're like, move the mic closer to your mouth.
Yeah, that's a touchy balance. So I found where I've got my mic. I'm not this close.
Hey,
But, but it's good enough. In post, I normally bump up my own volume so it balances everyone else out.
Andros just told me I could turn you up solo, so I did. So now you're up to 200%.
There we go.
There you are, nice and clear.
Hope I don't blow Andros' his eardrums out.
Nope, you're perfect now.
All right, good.
And this is why when I'm recording, I normally have the lights off in this room.
You have this beam of light behind your head.
You get some serious Jesus vibes there, Jesse.
Jesse, I gotta get my sunglasses off.
Right?
Yes. So yeah, it's, as I was mentioning, or you guys knew that I was with the Nintendo Dads actually before, or Nintendo Pals before this, because they were recording and streaming their show about E3, and so I hope I got out a lot of my stuff there, so I don't take up any of your guys' time. But I definitely want to hear, those things like you guys were saying, what you're looking forward to and disappointments, which. I mean, you mentioned the Square Enix thing, and Jesse, we all know Jesse's disappointment in that, just from his roller coaster of, yay, we're getting 1 through 6 Final Fantasies, and no, it's only coming to Steam and mobile. So,
Pretty much.
but I did see some other streamers as well who had the same sentiment, so it's a shared sentiment with a lot of fans, so that was a disappointment. Was anything else disappointing to anybody as well, like that I can think of?
I wouldn't say it was disappointing, but the Nintendo presentation to me was just a miss because there wasn't much there for me, personally.
What were you hoping for? What were you looking to get out of that?
I don't know. I didn't really have any. I had low expectations. I hope low expectations, but no, I just
satisfy those.
Exactly. But it was just one of those deals. It's like a lot of the stuff there just is not for me. I'm not a big Metroid guy. All you Metroid fans, about time you got something. The only thing that I actually was like, oh, I might actually get that. Would probably be actually, believe it or not, the new Mario Party. And the only reason is because I saw it has the greatest board ever for Mario Party on it, and that's Peach's birthday cake. Because if any of y'all remember how you would have to plant the piranha plant, and people land on it and you steal their stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I don't know. There just wasn't much.
Is that the one where they take a slice of the cake and like move you to another section of the board? Am I remembering that right?
I think so. I haven't played, and I used to drink a lot of these when we'd play in
years,
college.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
But
Yeah,
but just
That is
I
exciting.
don't know. There's a lot of the Japanese anime stuff. I just like Shin Megami Tensei. I know nothing about. Everyone I know, it's got a cult following. A lot of people like Danganronpa, if I pronounce that correctly. I know nothing about that. It's just
I just learned about that series this year, so
I've heard about it. I don't know what it is. I know it's like really dark, but they're just, I don't know.
well,
I've fallen off Smash. I fell off Smash before I fell off Animal Crossing. That's how long that's been.
I take that back. I learned about the series before because Jesse, you talked about it a lot, Danganronpa stuff. So you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I brought up Danganronpa when World's End Club was announced.
Right.
Because they're made by the same team.
I remember that before, but didn't you talk about it before in previous years?
It would have been year 1 or year 2. It's been a while since I tried playing that on the Vita, and I never got far.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
I get it. Yeah, this stuff is. Yeah, don't know about much of that either.
Elevator Pitch is basically like a visual novel, but like kind of like Ace Attorney, so you can make choices and you can have lose conditions. And you're basically stuck in a high school where you have to commit a murder and not get caught. So you lose if you die, you lose if you kill someone and get caught, and so that's the goal, is to commit a murder and not get caught. Because if you get caught, you'll die. So,
All right.
and
Sounds like another game.
It's totally wild.
right, that
Like
that black and white
Pokemon.
bear named Monokuma is the your host, running the show.
Is he in every one of the games?
I think so. I haven't played 2 or 3, but I think he's a constant. Kind of like Persona and Igor.
Mm.
He's always there.
Yeah, I've never played Shin Megami Tensei, but that seemed it started off and like this is just a normal like high school, and then as it got weirder and weirder, and then they showed the
it's-
gameplay. I'm like, this seems pretty cool.
All I know is it's really
don't know.
hard, but that's actually where your persona actually spawned off from, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, Persona is a spin-off of SMT.
Oh, really?
And yeah, SMT started in the Super Nintendo era. The first Persona game, I think, was PS1. So yeah, so they're both old franchises.
Yeah, when was the first U.S. release for Shin Megami Tensei? It was after Persona, wasn't it?
I know the first spin-off that hit North America was Jack Brothers on the
On
Virtual.
the Virtual Boy. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
The one Virtual Boy game I don't have.
I think Shin Megami. I think Shin Megami Tensei 3 had a PS something release.
I was thinking it was like
PS2?
PS2, yeah. So I think it was after. It's funny because all these spin-offs generate from that series, but we didn't actually get the series till way later.
Yeah, and then Persona 1 I think was PS1 and then was ported to PSP.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think it was end of PS1 life cycle.
Yeah, I tried playing the first 2 Personas. I couldn't get into them, but I've played them all since from 3 and up, 3, 4, and 5.
Did you really like the last one they did a lot, Persona 5?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I tried it, and I mean the gameplay was fun, but good grief, the like talking and the chit chat and the text and the chit chat and the text. And the
yeah.
chit-chat and the text.
That's part of the
Yes.
part of the series.
I mean, I
The
can take
menus.
some because I know you need some story arc and stuff like that. And you need some conversation material.
Yeah,
but I
'cause
feel
it's-
like
it-
was just
Pa-
like,
part of Persona, in addition to the dungeons, it's also time management because you have so many time slots in a day.
Yeah.
After school or on weekends, if there's no school, you can
Yeah.
spend time with your friends. You can grind up in a dungeon,
Yeah.
or you can proceed with your main quest. And if you don't meet a deadline in your main quest by end date, you get a
Yeah.
game over.
My problem was, and I don't want to take away from your fun of playing that game, but my problem was I was like playing at night and I was reading so much. There's so much reading in that game. I was reading so much I was falling asleep playing it.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah, that's when you know to move on to something else.
Yeah.
Don't play Metopia then.
Or just don't do it at 2 in
Yeah.
the morning.
No, I'm not, I wasn't doing it 2 in the morning. No, God knows those days are behind me.
What? There's no more marathoning till 6 a.m.
No, that was Warcraft. No.
That's funny. So Matt, sorry, we kind of went off on the other games there, but from your spinning off from there, we go back to anything else about the Nintendo Direct you were talking about there?
No, I'm just trying to think. I'm having a brain fart. Yeah, like I said, there just wasn't a whole lot I got excited about, and actually, I was actually getting bored during the Nintendo presentation. When you're getting bored, it's just kind of,
And
that's okay. It happened.
I
Like
love
said,
this.
I know it wasn't for me. I'm not going to sit there and say
Yeah.
it stunk. It just wasn't for me.
That's what I love
Right.
about having everybody's different perspectives about this, because obviously there's some of us who were like, "Oh, this is great," and then there's some others that were disappointed. So, and I want to learn about what was disappointing about that, for like what you were saying, and maybe others too.
And probably the person who
Yeah.
said it best is I had the same sentiment that Sean Capri had on how he felt about it on Nintendo Drive.
Yeah.
Everything he said is exactly how I felt about it.
Okay. I have to still listen to that one, so that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I
John?
wish they
The,
would have. Go
the
ahead.
Smash reveals. Like, I wish they would keep the reveal to like the cinematic and then like just a little bit of gameplay. They do like a small deep dive in the direct that I think they could leave out, because that Sakurai is going to do his own thing a couple weeks later. probably could have fit like another couple games in that segment. I mean, it was like a good 5 minutes that they talked about the fighter afterwards. And
Yeah, I didn't need to know about the 20 different moves that he did.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I was like,
you know
man,
what
this
I mean?
guy's got
Like,
more
that's
moves
cool.
than anybody.
Like how many different kicks and punches can you really do? But
Oh,
I
he's-
get it.
Yeah, exactly. But
All of them.
Yeah, exactly. All the kicks.
I think the only other really thing that I was disappointed with was that the Advance Wars was not a new Advance Wars. I wanted something new. I'll buy this game and play the old ones, but I already own them and have played through them several times. Own them several places. They've all been on Virtual Console and things like that. So I
Well,
was kind of
hopefully,
hoping we would get a new one.
this hopefully will bring a new audience in though too, so that it
Yeah.
deserves that sequel that you're looking for those people, new people who aren't familiar with it. Because granted, they haven't had a new Advance Wars game in a while, so.
Well, I like that, but at the same time, we haven't had a new Metroid in 19 years, and they gave us a new Metroid.
True, very true.
Like,
It's,
any follow up to it, no re-releases of any of the other games or anything. Like, here's a new one. We've had an Advance Wars at least. Well, I think almost all the Advance Wars have came out since Metroid.
right. That's a good point. Very
I
good
think I'm gonna
point.
go ahead. I'm gonna jump in there on the note about Advance Wars, and I'm gonna say when I saw that come up on the direct, I was super excited. I was real excited. I got memories of playing the original Advance Wars. I had a copy of Black Hole Rising with me when I went to my army training, and then later when I deployed to Afghanistan, it brought a little library of GBA games with me because I couldn't play StarCraft in the hooch back
Yeah.
over there. But in any case, it was really nice to see a title like that come back. And something that I've always wondered is, what if team that brought us Fire Emblem Three Houses gave Advance Wars that kind of treatment? Like, what if the right team was there to flesh out a bigger project, a bigger experiment in tactics and story and
Was that
and all
Bandai,
of that.
Jesse?
I don't
You
think
remember?
Which one?
For Three Houses.
Didn't Namco help out with Three Houses?
I don't know.
Or was it was somebody else? It
I'll-
wasn't Intelligent Systems 100%. They had
Intelligent
They only had
Systems and
influence.
Koei Tecmo.
Tecmo, that's right. I was sick of it. So there you go. If they would just hand that over and have somebody else kind of help them out, that they could probably do the same thing.
Well, they did give it to Way Forward, and maybe Way Forward's learning something from this, and maybe they could do something with it too, with a new version, continuing on the series.
The only thing with me with
Yeah.
Advance Wars is I've never had a portable system, and as someone who's never played and has only heard about it, as for the art direction they picked for the remake, it doesn't look good. It really looks like a mobile game, and as for someone who's never played one, that's can be a big turnoff.
The general
Yeah, it
art,
is for me.
The key art is still relatively similar to how it was on the GBA. They just kind of made them
Yeah,
3D.
they cleaned it
and
up, polished it a little bit.
But yeah, but it always was like an anime-ish series.
Okay.
And
Like I
that's
said,
kind
I've
of Way
never played
Forward's
it. It's just,
touch.
okay.
Yeah, because I've never played the game either. This is I'm new to the series, and then hear Marty talk about it on the show about like maybe this, be the if
It-
you like Fire Emblem, you need to go play this because this is gonna be like this is like a tier above Fire Emblem, and I'm like, oh really? Oh, I need
That's
to look
more
into
of a
this
big
maybe.
bet,
That's the tactic
Yeah,
side of
I
it,
have
yes.
one.
The
Yeah.
tactic
Yeah,
side.
like
Mhm.
Roger's favorite game of all time is Advance Wars 2. So he is really excited for this game.
Definitely don't let the graphics steer you away. Give it a shot regardless, because the gameplay is phenomenal.
So how does it compare if you could talk to the Sega dads to Shining Force and Shining Force 2 in terms of the strategy? That's honest. To be honest, that's probably the only strategy game I've played outside of getting my butt kicked in Wargroove.
This is going to be more like Wargroove
Okay.
than those games, for sure.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I couldn't bring StarCraft with me over to Afghanistan, so it was good enough.
That's awesome.
Advanced Wars, good enough.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump in for the first time on that one too. I skipped
like
a bunch
that.
of handheld. Yeah.
I like that
Yes,
box
sorry.
quote. Good enough.
Didn't Drew coin that? Like,
Yeah. I think so. That's funny. Yes, I didn't have a GBA, so yeah, I'm excited to give this one a try. It looks like fun, and you know, I kind of agree with you with the art style. Seems, you know, take it or leave it, kind of. But I've heard so many good things about the game that I'm kind of setting that aside and just gonna give it a go. You know.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
turned off by the graphics.
I
either.
also never owned a GBA until after the DS launched.
I almost kind of wonder if they were scared to change the graphic style much to try to still connect with the older audiences that already played it, because it does look pretty spot on to the GBA, just cleaned up.
Chris HL in our chat says 94 says he was not excited about E3 either. He can't join us right now because he's, you know, he says he's half watching a movie with his wife, but he wanted to let us know that he also was not excited about E3 either. So
if the movie's not any good, you can just go and say, oh, "Honey, I'll be back," and just come join. And she wouldn't know any different. She'd fall asleep.
Yep. But
I'll do
man,
it.
he'll be in trouble if she
Do it.
finds out.
Man, no, there's no. I've
Yeah,
always
don't
said
get in
there's no
trouble.
worse aggro than wife aggro.
Especially now with the
Trust me.
video record of it.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, I definitely can see. I saw a lot of those things mentioned about it, maybe looking like a mobile game as well. So I found that very interesting. But again, I am familiar with the series, so maybe that's why it didn't look that way to me. Yep. So anything else, Matt, that you were going to mention about the E3?
No, because I'll be honest, the only three I watched were that Xbox and Square Enix, and yeah, I say Xbox kind of pretty much killed it this year, especially with the mini fridge at the end. So
The mini fridge did it.
Yes.
I kind of want one. I just don't have any place to put it.
I actually could use one to put down here to keep my tasty beverages in. So it's right here next to my desk, but I have a feeling this thing's going to be like there's only make like 1,500 of them. It's going to be $300. I'm not paying $300 for a fridge. Sorry.
Yeah. We'll see what they
Can't
do
do
with
it.
that.
Oh, I did,
Yeah.
I did order that custom colored controller earlier today.
Oh, did you make one?
Yeah, Tim made like a color palette based on our avatars, and I took what he gave me and I tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah,
Yep.
but the only thing I did recently is, on a side note, I did order my physical copy of Zombies Ate My Neighbors today. Because that's if you don't order it by pretty much midnight Eastern Sunday, you can't get it. So,
Was
Just
that
on a
on
side note.
that website that y'all listed on the podcast or whatever that?
it's on limited run. They're releasing physical. It's on. They have the digital version out, but it's Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol, if I can spell it out right. But they're releasing for the PS4, the Switch, the Genesis, or the SNES. So
And the limited run's only letting you order the physical copy until this Sunday.
that's why it's limited run.
Well, I
Yeah,
thought
it's
that-
a very
I thought-
very
They're-
small
they-
window.
They announced that they're going to put some out in Best Buy because sometimes they have a partnership with Best Buy. It'll have a different cover, and those will be limited as well. But it's like if you guaranteed to want one, you have to pre-order it now. And I think it's for the standard, just the game. It's like $35. I think it's $34.99, and it's like roughly $5 for shipping. And then they have like a collector's pack. It's like 100. There's one that's like $450. I think it has like all 4 physical versions and like a whole bunch of crap with it. So.
Yeah, 'cause
It's the first
I've
time
ordered
in a
the
while
limited
they've.
one from them before, and I was gonna say I thought they gave me like a bigger window because I've ordered the Castlevania from them, and I thought there was like a huge
Might
window.
depend on the game.
It depends on
Yeah.
the game, and they're working with Lucas Arts, so
Oh,
yeah,
man,
Lucas Arts.
yeah.
Don't forget. So
Yeah, that might be the twist because I know Double Dragon's got a big window for like order time, through them, and so I was like, man, that's a tight window they're giving you for that game. It's like 5 days or something like that. It feels like.
yeah, I think you're getting this weekend. If I got my dates correct, I want to say it was until this Sunday. Watch me be wrong. If I'm wrong, someone in chat correct me.
The chat likes to actually.
Yeah, it says July 18th.
You got
It is a
July.
Sunday.
So today's when it went on sale. It's today, but I think it's only good. I think you only have until the 20th to order it. Unless it was like July
Yeah.
20th and I missed that.
Yeah, the standard edition says July 18th.
Well, that's when
is-
it went on sale. That's today.
No, today's June 18th.
July. That's why. Okay. See, I'm wrong. See, June, July. Too many J months.
How dare
That's
they
not
be
bad.
adjacent to each other?
Oh,
No,
I blame
It's,
Caesar for
4
that
letters too. Like, come on.
It just proves
No,
that
you
you're
can
having some
blame
very good beer there.
Gregory for that one, because he modified the Julian calendar. Just throwing
Oh.
that out there.
Hey, I'm Orthodox. I know all about different calendars.
Nothing at all.
The for anyone that wants to know, the
Nice.
collectors is also all on the 18th of July is when they close.
Oh, I'm wrong. I lied. Thank
Yeah,
you.
they haven't really done really tight windows in quite a while. It's been open pre-orders for at least a month for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so.
Okay. I'll admit this is the first time I've ever ordered anything from them. If you don't,
This is the first time for me for Castlevania. How does that work? Like, do you get an email when they say like, "Okay, we'll start making your game now," or does it just show up one day?
I think it just. I don't know. All I
Be
know is when I
prepared to
ordered
wait
it, it
like
says-
6 months.
Yeah, it
Oh,
says
okay.
it'll take 4 to 6 months or something in the email I
Yeah.
got when I did the
All
order.
right, so don't call
I
us.
ordered-
We'll call you.
When Shantae was available last year, I ordered the Game Boy Color reprint as a standard edition and as a collector's edition, so I'm getting 2 copies. And if you order more than one item, they don't ship out anything until everything's done. So if you go to the pages every once in a while, you'll see a status. So like I would go to the standard edition Shantae page, and it says these are being manufactured now, or these have manufacturers completed. We're currently packing. You know, when it gets to a certain status point, that's when it's ready to ship. So standard editions are ready to ship, but the collector's editions is still getting manufactured. So I have to wait until both are done before they'll ship to me.
Good grief. I'm sorry, I can't imagine waiting, 4 to
It's
6
hard.
months
For your
for a game. Yeah,
I think it was like
It-
September or October.
it takes real intestinal fortitude.
I
just
waited
rolled
almost
it-
a year for my Celeste
Pre-ordered
copy to
my
come.
first game ever.
Kind of like a
Like I
Kickstarter,
just
except for this.
a month
there's
ago.
no risk here.
Last month, I pre-ordered for the first time the Switch version of East 9 Monstrum Nox. Now I know that's like, I don't know, maybe not like the biggest banger of a game to come to Switch. I mean, it's only coming after like a year or so being on PS4 and whatever. But I'm a longtime fan of the East series, and I am super stoked for this game. But this was my first time ever pre-ordering something, and I just can't stand the wait. And the demo that they give you is like they give you 10 minutes to explore 2 different battlefields, and that's it. It's like pre-ordering a steak dinner and getting like a bite or 2 at a time. Like, oh my gosh, I want this. Give me the whole steak dinner.
I said that was your first pre-order. You said.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Okay.
I've pre-ordered
No.
stuff from Limited Run and then forgot, and then like it'll just show up in the mail one day.
Yeah. No, it's
That's usually how it goes, right? You have
That's-
to wait so long.
That's probably the best way to do it.
at least you got a
Yeah.
10-minute demo because I'm in the same boat right now. I've been in other situations like you, but this particular moment with Metroid Dread and getting that pre-ordered and not having any type of demo. Yeah, it's like, I gotta wait till October.
Okay. Yeah, that I can,
It's aptly
I-
named.
yeah, I can relate. I can relate 100%. And by the way, I enjoyed watching you and the other guys lose your minds when that got announced. I mean, that was a real treat, Tim. Thank you for that.
that was a treat for me too.
I normally don't get Roger excited, but I think that was the most excited I've ever gotten for an announcement.
Yeah, I didn't have to yell into a pillow, but I was close. I had a pillow near me, but
D20 Sama.
yes, it was D20 Sama. But yeah, that was definitely exciting to see. Just I don't know about anybody else here. What about you guys? You guys obviously saw my excitement for it, but what about you guys in regards to Metroid Dread? I know Matt, you said that you're not a Metroid fan, so it didn't do much for you. But anybody else here in regards to Metroid Dread?
Oh,
This is another one where I'm just
I
excited
have-
to try out the series. I've played some Super Metroid, but I have had like no real exposure to Metroid over the years. So to say before, like I haven't had any of the handheld systems for the most part, except the Fat Boy Game Boy, and then the second half of the 3DS I came back in. Oh, like a bunch of those games. Love the way the graphics looked. Her suit looked just so cool. I love that
Yes.
color combo. It just looks so awesome. That's why I'm kind of upset I wasn't able to get one of those Amiibo pre-orders, but I guess
Nice.
I'll live. But the gameplay looked really fun and like smooth, and over the last couple of years I
Oh, yeah.
played some Metroidvanias like Axiom Verge, a couple others, so I'm like interested to dive into the genre a little bit more and to go with a game that just looks so cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to try it out.
Nice. And a game that Metroidvanias is kind of built from, right? So that's cool.
Exactly.
Real quick, I guess
Absolutely.
Rob Yapel has gifted a couple of subscriptions to the Nintendo Dads community. So it says two in the channel. So he gave one to Caffeinated Diabetic and maybe to himself. I don't know, but that's pretty cool. Thank you very much for that, Rob. That was very kind of you. It's very cool to see that because we don't get to see that too often around here, but it's an honor for you to do that for the community. Thank you very much. So, and Chris says, I played a little Samus Returns on 3DS and liked that. So, considering that Mercury Steam is behind this sequel, Metroid Dread, and they did the Samus Returns game, it's something to look forward to. Or maybe not so much if you didn't like the Samus Returns game. I know, Jesse, you said you didn't like the parry system in Samus Returns. But you started going back to playing it, though, so change your mind on that at all?
It's growing on me. I think against trash, it isn't bad. I think like when you're up against bosses, that's when it gets annoying.
Okay. Yeah, I hope they.
Because if you miss, you take a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
seemed to
they've
be a good
improved on
warning.
it. Yes. It does look like there's some signs there too when they were showing it at the treehouse, but because they had some time, maybe they've improved on it too. So
Yeah, for me, I was glad to finally see a Metroid come to the scene. I feel like it's just been getting tossed and tossed around and not really shown much love. I mean, they put a lot of Samus in Smash, and I was like, okay, all right. So they like saying, hey, she's still around, she exists. That's about it. And I'm just waiting for a game to finally come around, and I've got so much nostalgia for that game because I grew up with the OG Nintendo, and
nice.
I played a ton of the original Metroid growing up, and had so much fun childhood memories of that game, so I've got, like I say, a lot of nostalgia attached to it. So I was really wanting Nintendo to like show some love, bring Metroid back into the fold, and like give us some game of a new Metroid on the Switch. And so I was glad to finally see it come around and finally for them to release something. So yeah, I was definitely excited when I saw the video and stuff, and I saw in the the Discord chat when I saw bubbles popping up about stuff being released and saw a Metroid game coming out. I mean, I was like, really stoked. I mean, I dropped some 4-letter words in excited fashion out loud when I saw that come through. Because I was really, it's like, yes, finally, and
Nice.
yeah. So, and I was doing everything I could to get everybody in the Discord that, whenever Daniel called me from GameStop, he told me about like the sale they were doing,
Yes.
and I was like trying to help everybody I could in Discord to get that, wanted to get that the special edition and get the amiibos to get it, and I was like, this is like so awesome, and I'm glad to see on the tail end of it the love that is still out there in the world for it. And I mean the world because of like the sales that it showed internationally on Amazon.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, so the fan base is still out there, and they are not only out there, but there's still a lot of hunger for that series. And so hopefully Nintendo will see that and be like, oh, okay, well that's we got a strong fan base still out there for this game and for this IP. So maybe we should start shuffling it some more attention.
Yeah, there's definitely that potential there, because obviously we got a trilogy in the Prime series, and then obviously 4 coming out as well in the Prime series. But the 2D, 19 years, right? Did I get that right? 19. So, for a new one, not a
Fusion was
remake.
2002.
Yeah. So that is something else, and this does tie a bow on that series, which is something else. Something to be said as well. So, which will be interesting, and see how they do that, how they end the series, and also maybe too soon to talk about this, but after we see how they tie this up, where is it going to go from here? Obviously, we got the Prime series still going, but where does the 2D games go to in that? And I mentioned this too before with the Mercury Steam guys doing this. They pitched a Metroid game to Nintendo first, before they even started working on Samus Returns. It was Nintendo that said, no, let's first work on this Samus Returns first. And who knows, maybe also this as well, because Mercury Steam is helping Nintendo with this development. So maybe part of the deal was for Mercury Steam to do their story, they have to tie up these stories, or at least show Nintendo that they can do the work. So, and this is all speculation on my part, but that's what I'm just curious about, especially since they did come pitch something. What is that something? I'm really curious about. Was it a Fusion sequel? Maybe it was. Or was it a whole new story? Who knows? That's, again, I'm all about the lore, I guess, if you will, in regards to Metroid, as well as another series that we'll be talking about soon. So, but yeah. Anybody else in regards to Metroid?
Yeah, thanks, Solo. You're the reason why I got my amiibo.
Yes, the man on the ground.
I wanted that second playthrough of Samus Returns that I started yesterday. I am now officially, I guess I started on Wednesday, but I'm past where I was stuck the first time.
Good.
So,
Come on, I thought
hopefully
you
that
would have played that game back on the Game Boy.
I
Yeah.
tried and couldn't play that one. That was the only Metroid game I couldn't play.
I actually played that one on the Game Boy. That was one of the earlier Metroid. I didn't beat that one. So it was not one I beat. One of the first Metroid game I beat was Fusion. So I think I told John and Dan this story when we did the Metroid episode for them. But it was the Fusion and the Prime games were the reason why I really got into Metroid. Because they came out in the same year, essentially the same day, a day apart. But I really dug the handheld version because I was able to play that some more. But then the Prime game itself was a lot of fun, and that really got me into the story and the lore, and then so on and so forth with the Prime trilogy. And but pinball is truly my number one Metroid game. I miss that pinball game.
You never beat the original Metroid?
What's that?
I said you never beat the original Metroid?
I did, but not. Well, okay, let me say this. I beat it in the Zero Mission form, not the original Metroid form.
We'll break out that NES Mini or the Switch Online, and there you go.
I don't need to. I don't need to
And a
go.
lot of maps.
I did Zero Mission. I'm good.
Oh, no. You need to do it like I did it, like old school. Blow into the cartridge, put it into the NES, yeah, and then... yeah.
I'm pretty sure when I played the original NES, I used like the like really early Nintendo Power subscribers got this big black book of
Yes.
just game
Remember
maps.
that book.
That's how I got through Metroid, how I got through Zelda 2, how I got through Kid Icarus.
That's how I
You draw your
started.
own maps.
I did draw my own maps for Zelda at one point. I wish I still had them, but and then there are some, depending on the game, I will draw a map, but it's not something I like to do.
I never drew maps for Kid Icarus, but I will tell you how many times I wanted to throw something at the TV because they kept playing Wizards. Good God.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and in order to find the hospital to cure yourself, you needed the map for that area.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Is
Yep.
anyone else bummed in the late 90s when Metroid 2 didn't get a DX version? It's kind of hoping they would. Kind of like Link's Awakening got a DX that was in color.
I don't think it occurred to me that would have been a possibility.
I found Metroid 2, I found it easier than Metroid 1. I remember that because I was like, God, this is nothing like as grueling as Metroid 1 was. And I still think if I went back and I played the original Metroid to this day, I think I would still get like heart palpitations when I would get near the mother brain and those Metroid would come flying in at me. Like, I mean, to this day, I think it still like would traumatize me. Because I remember even as a kid playing that, and I would just like, oh, I would still panic.
See you later, Matt. I know he's already dropped, but he had to go to another.
yeah.
He had to go to another podcast. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, those things would freak me out when they would come flying in at me and stuff like that.
And that's what I think they're playing on too with the Dread, right? Is that thriller aspect or the chase aspect of it? You know, the Dread.
Yeah, because then the original one too, didn't you, with the mother brain, didn't you have to keep breaking the glass? Because if you didn't stay on it, the glass would reform around her.
Oh, around Mother Brain.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't think it did, but like on the way to Mother Brain, you had to shatter these smaller tubes or something. Those did regen
That's
up
what
until
it
the
was.
point
That's
when
what it
you.
was. Yeah.
But once you did break them, they stayed broken.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the
But
glass.
yeah, before they were dead, they did have a regen.
Okay.
But yeah, Tim, that the trailer really caught my attention for sure. The suspense and the eeriness of it, and what is this? Machine coming at her. Like, yeah,
Yes.
it was exciting for someone who's like me, who's not even a Metroid fan. It's definitely caught my attention.
Yeah, that one I'm looking forward to getting immersed in that as well. It sounds like that would be a good one with the sounds. When I was watching the Treehouse, when they did both sessions on it, you could hear the sounds from Emmy, chasing and looking for Samus throughout. And so there's some noise cues that you can hear, and then you also have to keep an eye on the map, which I was actually getting frustrated with the lady who was playing, and she'd just run into the eyesight of Emmy. And get caught and have to run away and stuff like that. I don't know if she was doing it on purpose, but every time she did, it was like, it's there on the map. The red light, if you get in the eyesight, it's there. How do you keep running into it? But my frustration also is probably just because I couldn't play it myself. So, but I do appreciate that there was a lot of info there. And again, I want to learn more about the lore and everything, so I'm excited about it. And I'm excited for people who haven't played it. I hope there's some good it looked like there would be some good, like, what do you call it? Prologue or prelogue or epilogue or whatever to the story to kind of catch people up who never played these games before, or at least haven't played it in 19 years. You know, to be able to refresh the story on some things. Or if we're lucky, maybe, you know, in late August or September we get a NSO drop for Game Boy Advance games or something, to where we would get Zero Mission and Fusion and stuff like that.
I think I heard there would be like a little prologue chapter of just story dump of what happened in the first 3 games.
Okay.
First 4 games.
Yeah.
Last time on Metroid.
Yes. Yes.
That would be funny.
5 games if you include other apps.
Yep. That was a 0.5 halfway story.
And I hope this game, I hope it does do that to some effect for the non-fan base, or the people that are just coming into this to this IP series that are like, you know, kind of like, oh, this is a very cool game. You know, I don't know much about Metroid, but this looks pretty sweet. I want to play it. That, you know, they can. It's not like they don't feel lost. Like, you know, this is a good game, but, you know, I really don't know anything about this character. I don't know anything about the story, but, you know, it was a fun game. You know, that it's not like that they don't feel like they're being on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Playing the game. I want them to feel, you know, kind of like,
I agree.
yeah, you know, I can enjoy the conversation just as much as someone who's played Metroid games through and through before.
Yes. And who knows what Nintendo could be doing up to that point as well, because you guys were bringing up Kid Icarus, right? They did a lot of the cartoon stuff before or during when Kid Icarus was out, right? To kind of fill in some story gaps there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, who knows if they would do that again on the Switch, like they used to do with the 3D little movie clips that they did on the 3DS. Nefrendo says, I remember Metroid 2 on Game Boy being more linear than the first as well, is what he said. So, and it must, Jesse, it looks like you said it looks like that way in Returns. They kind of kept the same linearness. Oh, you're muted, Jesse. Sorry.
Yeah, I typed a reply. I said that that's what I've noticed so far with Metroid Returns. But there are areas that I haven't yet been able to access, so I presume there'll be a reason for me to go back to the start. It just hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
But I literally went to the starting area, Area 1, Area 2, and haven't needed to go back yet.
From what I can remember, most of the stuff you go back for in Samus Returns is just like extra energy tanks and things like that. I don't remember having to go back to get a weapon upgrade to move on to the next area. It's pretty linear as far as that goes.
That makes sense.
Interesting. And I just thought of something too when you guys were mentioning that. That I was reminded in Dread that they pointed out a lot that you're actually starting out from the bottom of the map and working your way up this time, as opposed to a lot of the other Metroids where you're starting up and you're working your way down. And then you got to hurry up and make your way up to get out of there when it was blowing up in some cases. So
you always start on a surface and work your way down into a cave or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I could talk about Metroid for hours. We did a lot of that on the Retro Logic show, but let's go ahead and move on to the Zelda side of things. You know, without prolonging it any further, we did get, you know, the last part of the, and we'll certainly touch on anything else in E3, but I figured let's get the Zelda stuff out of the way. You know, this little game that you guys heard of, right? Zelda, Legend of Zelda series, right? Well, that was we got a little bit of some news on that in regards to that being the last section of the Direct. Now, when they announced that, what were your guys' feelings when you watched it, either live or with us or afterwards, when they said, okay, this is the last section of our presentation, and then they go into it, and then Hyrule Warriors is the first thing they showed. What was your thoughts on that first thing they showed, where you're like, oh crap, they better not end on this? Or was it like, okay, Hyrule Warriors, get that out of the way, what's next? What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, then they did the Game and Watch.
Yeah, it
So
was-
it was like
Yeah.
the one thing.
Yeah.
I was like, we're never gonna get there.
Right.
It was just like a big ramp up, right? It's like,
Yes.
come on, where's the climax finally, right? But yeah, I 100%ed Hyrule Warriors, and you know the nunchuck looking thing, the new weapon, and being a guardian looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm done with that game. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, all right, you know, cool. I knew it was coming out. Great that we got some more details, but like, all right, what's next? Like, come on, move to the side, please.
Yes, Hyrule Warriors
that's not-
DLC. Nice. Okay, now go. What's next?
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, that's like me. I actually forgot I pre-ordered the expansion packs for Calamity, and then like I went to go like start. I'm like, God, I gotta finish that game. I gotta finish it. And I like went to go open it up, and I'm like, sweet. When did I get this Guardian sword and this like Guardian outfit and everything? And I'm like, oh, okay. And I look, and I've been billed for like a expansion pack, and so I'm like, well, and that spurred me to like say, well, I gotta finish this game. So actually, I finished it actually this evening. I
Ooh,
finally,
nice.
I finally beat the game.
Nice.
Yeah, finished it out, and so yeah, so I was like, well, I need to wrap this up, put a bow on it, because I know there's like, you know, I've got the other one coming out here like in like a couple weeks, and I'm gonna be on that one, so you know, I gotta like, much like what you were just saying, I'm like, you know, I gotta get this one and put this one on the shelf so I can get ready for the next one.
Right.
It did have a cool plot twist at the end.
Yeah.
Nice. I haven't beaten it yet, so
Amazing.
yeah, I haven't beaten that
Well,
one
you
yet.
haven't even taken yours out of the wrapper yet, have you?
I have.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. All right.
I just haven't played much of it because other things, you know, it's like for me it's bad because it's like ooh, this is cool, a squirrel, you know. So
Yeah.
something shiny comes along, I start playing it. So, and like I said, World's End Club has been holding my attention right now, and I gotta get back to that as well. So, but yeah, if without any spoilers, you said there was a cool twist at the end. Does it tie into? Well, obviously it ties into Breath of the Wild because that's what this is, kind of like a prequel, right? So, do you think
Gonna be-
fans of the story would need to see this?
It's going to be interesting to see if they do try to tie the two together.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how the direction that it goes, it kind of makes you wonder if like it's not a alternate ending to,
Okay.
you know. So it's definitely
Interesting.
something that's going to be interesting.
We'll touch on that in a minute when we get to the end of the direct here. But so we get the Hyrule Warriors DLC, then they pull out the. I think they touched on Skyward Sword a little bit too, or was that after they touched on the Pocket thing?
I can't remember which one was first, but they were both in the middle there.
Yeah. So they pull. Let's start about we'll talk about the Game and Watch. So, what did you guys think about the Game and Watch being pulled out there?
I like the
It
game.
was
Watch.
really
I didn't
nifty.
like the Mario one. But I got
I'm
the
glad
other
they
one.
didn't end it with that.
Here's the Game and Watch. Good night.
I've already bought it if that says anything.
Yes,
Yeah.
same here. Pre-ordered.
Yeah, I've got mine pre-ordered too. Yep.
Yep. What sold you on that Game and Watch? Was it just there was a Game and Watch, or was it there was 3 games on it, or there was specific games on it? What sold you on the Game and Watch?
The interactive clock.
Okay.
I like the color scheme, and I'm a Zelda fanboy. I'm always Team Zelda over Team Mario any day of the week. And
Nice.
Unfortunately, I feel like Nintendo will back Mario 10 times before they back Zelda any day of the week.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy anything that has Zelda on it. I'm gonna buy it. So, it's
All
like,
right.
yeah, this is cool. Like, sign me up. You know, Link's Awakening is probably one of my favorite Zeldas. So,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
to play that and then I think would be cool. But yeah, it just is like, all right, well, they don't seem to be doing anything else for the 35th anniversary, so I'll eat your sad cake with you, I guess, and I'll buy it.
Exactly. That's what I'm like.
In my case, it was just
Mario.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was just saying there, like about the sad cake. I'm like, yeah, I feel like Nintendo will back Mario before they back Zelda. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Exactly.
because it was a Game and Watch. Just It's probably something I want to buy, put on the shelf, and never touch. But it's just something, a collectible.
Yeah.
I have a theory that if you do want this one, I would probably go ahead and pre-order because I don't think they're going to make near as many after what happened to the Mario ones. Like everywhere still, and like, on stores like, was that supposed to be done in March?
I was thinking the same
They're
thing.
everywhere. Yeah, they're everywhere. So and these ones will probably be like half the. I mean, pretty gonna make less because it's Zelda, not Mario. I think they're gonna make even less because of what happened with the Mario ones.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering how people are.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I'm curious as to what people are gonna do to hack into it. I mean, like they did with the Mario Game and Watch. I've seen screenshots of them like running Doom on the old Mario.
I want
Game and
that
Watch
one.
thing.
I want to run Doom on them o'clock.
Wouldn't surprise me if it's the exact same method. It did require some hard modding. Yeah, basically they can get it to run any game that could run on the ES would be able to run on that. But it's actually gutting out the old ROM and substituting a new one, so it's not like. So it is a hard mod.
And it only came with enough hard drive space for what they intended it for the most part, right?
Right. Or if there's extra storage unused, the BIOS in the system knows to not. So you can't just throw it there and expect it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Zelda Link's Awakening also sold me on it as well. So when I saw that, it was like, okay, so there's 1 and there's 2, and I was probably gonna get it anyways, even if it was just 1 on it and 2 on it. And then when they said Link's Awakening, I was like, okay, I'll take it. So because that was definitely one that I have nostalgia for as well.
That's probably hooked me.
She touched it to 4x3.
Yeah.
They kept it to 1x1.
Maybe there's something that'll adjust it on there. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe.
That'd be nice. Yeah, if you could do it under settings.
Yeah, we don't have anything to judge off of because there's a Game Boy game on the Mario one.
Yeah. There we go. Sorry, I'm just fixing some of the audio here. It's jumping out.
Tell me that was stopper that they didn't put Mario Land on the Super Mario one.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, kind of wondering why they didn't
Maybe it wouldn't be
You know,
shelves right now
go
if they
and-
would put that on there.
put what was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for the Zelda Game & Watch, I would have rather maybe like the Oracle game or something like that, because I've never played those
Yeah.
ones. I
Whenever they
understand the rationale for the classic.
they kind of like held after two and like paused and they're like, oh wait, there's one more game on this, and I was like, there's no way they're putting Link to the Past on here. You know, that's too much.
I don't think there's enough. Yeah, there's not enough buttons.
Yeah, I know. And then I was like, oh wait a minute, there is another game they could put on here, and they did.
Kind of wondering if maybe the Game Boy emulator wasn't ready, so they couldn't do it for Mario, or they just maybe didn't think of it until Zelda. I don't know.
Could be.
They would definitely need a second emulator because the same emulator won't be able to run both sets of ROMs.
No.
So then after that,
Maybe this is how they're gonna test the waters for, testing the waters for Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy.
So that's a bad test.
Game Boy Classic.
Mhm.
That's like EA saying you better buy this FIFA second generation Legacy Edition, because if you don't, we'll assume you don't want to buy any more EA games. I'm like, no, we want to buy EA games. We want to buy the good ones.
Yeah. Not your leftovers.
Right.
This is like Dan telling us all to buy 5 copies of Advance Wars. Comes out.
Right. Definitely. So we got the Game & Watch coming to kind of help celebrate, I guess, the 35th anniversary, because that's what he basically said. We don't have much to celebrate it with, but we do have this, and that was the Game & Watch. So are you guys disappointed that they aren't doing as much with the 35th anniversary as they said, or are you guys satisfied with what they've done so far?
Me personally, I'm just being a Zelda fanboy. I mean, I'm disappointed. Be straightforward, yeah. I mean,
I was also hoping for more.
Yeah, I expected more. I mean, it's kind of me. I feel like is their attitude.
It's about as much as I expected that they would release for it. Like they were gonna do, even half of what they did from, just because I never do. Mario always takes precedence over their anniversary stuff.
Yeah, I think the timing of Skyward Sword is really telling too. Unfortunately, with middle of the summer, there's just not much room on side of that for Zelda games. Personally, those are more than Mario. I can throw a Mario game in two weeks or whatever. But Zelda, I feel like, just has a lot more teeth. And as much as I love it, probably not want to play a Zelda game, and my next game is probably not going to be another Zelda game. So I just don't think there is, unfortunately. So am I disappointed that there wasn't something else other than a Game & Watch? Yeah, but I kind of knew it was coming.
There still might be one more thing they could do. We might get another random smaller Zelda game like holiday time, because that slot still hasn't been filled.
Zelda 2 remake.
Oh.
Yes. I'll buy it. 3 copies.
Show your support.
Do your part. Do your part.
Nice. So that then leads us into Skyward Sword, a little bit of that, or we were led into one or the other. I can't remember either, but we are, obviously they got Skyward Sword coming up. But I did want to bring that up because, well, we'll talk about this in a minute. But going from that, we also get into the Breath of the Wild 2 teaser, I'll call it, So we got to watch that. It was 30 seconds of some wonderful footage. And we got to see a lot with it crammed into that 30 seconds, that a potential gameplay of what you can do with the new skills you're going to get. What are your guys' thoughts on what you guys saw there?
I just want to know why Link's arm got all jacked up.
Yeah.
Like,
that was
what's
pretty
the
crazy.
story
You know what I
with
thought
that?
of when I
Like,
saw that?
does he have like a robot arm like Luke got after Empire?
It's a crossover with Mega Man. You didn't catch that?
It's Guardian arm.
Okay. I get it now.
I thought of the movie, what was that, an anime movie, Princess Mononoke, I think is what it was.
Yeah,
when I saw
Mononoke.
that. Yeah, that's immediately what
Yes.
I thought. Like, oh wow, they're taken from that movie.
Yes. No, both my teenagers actually picked up on that they saw that and they said, yeah, that's just like the hero in Princess Mononoke.
Yeah,
Now they just need like a huge elk type deal.
there you
It's
go.
been so
Hang in
long
there.
since I've seen that movie, I didn't make that
Yeah.
reference.
And she uses a bow and arrow, so there you go.
Well, we know that there's a lot of companies that have a lot of respect for Ghibli Studios, so I wouldn't be surprised if there were some influences there. So, but one of the things that jumped out to me, and I'm sure a lot of you, was the scene where we see Link in the sky falling down, just like Skyward Sword. And that's why I wanted to bring that back to that in regards to that, is how much, or I'll say this, there's a reason why, and they said this from the beginning, why they're re-releasing Skyward Sword to us, right? There's something there that he said if you're a fan of Breath of the Wild, you're going to want to play this when they brought it out. So when they brought it out, there's something there that we got to know about, right? So, and maybe this also ties into the Hyrule Warriors type of thing. And then there's also speculation from people who are like, see what they saw in the trailer of the condition that Link was in when he was falling, as far as what he looked like. Compared to what he looks like in Skyward Sword, obviously 2 different generations, but that there's tie-ins and stuff. So for me, this excites me a lot because I'm all about the lore, and this is what excites me about Metroid as well, is seeing the lore, how it all ties together, how people even talk about how it ties together. I get excited about that, and again, that's why I always hope that Dark Horse and Nintendo will come out with a Metroid book like they did with the Hyrule book that they did. So that's why I'm excited to, I don't know if I'll have time to be able to finish it, but there's all these games in regards to Zelda that I want to be able to finish so I can get that lore that lore. So I want to learn more. What do you guys think in regards to that? What are you expecting out of this connection with Skyward Sword to the Breath of the Wild 2?
Well, I know they still call it the sequel to Breath of the Wild, right? And they're being very coy with the actual subtitle. If it's not Return to Skyloft, Breath of the Wild 2,
Yeah.
like, come on, that's kind of what hit with me. I was like, wow, look at this, like, whatever it is in the sky, like maybe like debris of Skyloft that's like broken up there that you're gonna go to, or it seemed that at least the castle was getting lifted up out of the ground, so there's that. But
the
yeah,
Loftwing Strikes Back.
That's it.
I like that.
That would be a
I
good
think-
subtitle.
It's got to be it, man.
I think we could see a return of the Loftwing. I think the amiibo is kind of could be a hint of that.
Is it a tell? Yeah, it could be.
They're like, well, it
Sorry.
does one thing in Skyward Sword, but they don't say that. There's nothing that's saying that amiibo won't function and do something in Breath of the Wild 2.
It's gonna drop more stuff from the
I
sky.
think I'm gonna be. It's gonna drop more stuff. That you better have that amiibo. Or you're not gonna be able to go do the sky levels. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That's
the
the
only
only way
way.
you can summon the Loftwing.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that's where you can get the bird in Breath of the Wild too. So here's some.
The
Yeah.
the scene of Link falling from the free falling from the sky there, just and how he looked, it was almost like he was Robin Williams coming out of the Jumanji board game. It's like long hair. He looks
Right.
like he's just like savage clothes.
Right.
I've
So
actually seen pictures of. I've seen pictures of people have been posting having fun with that photoshopping, and they actually
Yes.
have the Fortnite bus.
yes,
In the
I saw
picture,
that.
him jumping out of the Fortnite bus.
I thought that was pretty funny. So Mecha Dragon's in the chat as well, and he's mentioned a few things about one. He's disappointed that it's terrible. They had an entire orchestra from the last anniversary. Apparently, he's upset that we had that last time and nothing like that this time around. And then Ian Barry, Skyward Sword has to have something else bundled in with it. Wishful thinking would be Twilight Princess. We know there's nothing else bundled with it right now, so. And then Mecha's back to saying this game's going to be called Skyward Sword 2. You watch. And then he's also said maybe Fi will come back. Maybe we'll see that character in this, in the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that would be interesting.
As long as she doesn't complain that your batteries are wearing out.
Yeah. As I say, technically she's kind of a part of every game, right?
Yeah. Very true.
Just doesn't have a voice.
Very true.
I did like one of the theories though I have heard out there that was kind of referenced earlier about like Ganon kind of becoming a good guy in a way. And
I heard something along those lines. Not necessarily
did
him
like that
becoming good, but
story thread.
he is. He could be your.
Yeah, maybe he was at one point.
Well,
Yeah, I heard that one.
The Force, he could be your companion for this game, At least,
Yeah.
if you've played Arkham Knight for a time, Bruce has a in his head. If you haven't played it, I'm not going to spoil it, but that's kind of like the same thing going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of would like that. I would dig that kind of a story twist and story arc, to where, like, it's like it kind of like not necessarily like your friend, but for a while y'all kind of are like on the same path toward the same for a while.
I mean, me, I'm hoping for a more robust story, because Breath of the Wild had kind of one of the lightest Zelda stories of any game almost. There's almost no like simplistic the story. I think they did that on purpose. They're trying to get it. It was almost a reboot of sorts, but
all the stories were in flashback as opposed to in real time.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and just there's no,
It's
they
more like
built
your
the
experience is your story.
yeah, they built this huge sprawling world, and there's hardly anybody to talk to in it. So I hope the new game has more story and more, focus on the area. They kind of build some more stuff to it.
I think we could do a whole episode or a whole dinner table around the lore of Legend of Zelda. I'm sure everybody's going to have to study up and bring it back. And then we'll do one for Metroid as well.
There.
So
it is amazing though how Breath of the Wild still has legs. I mean, people to this day are still playing that, and you can go and watch YouTube videos of people how they're like discovering things in it, discovering new tricks in it and stuff. I mean, how long that game has been out. I mean, it's just testimony how much of a masterpiece that game is, though.
It's Nintendo Skyrim. It'll never die.
Exactly. On and on and on and on.
The only difference is Nintendo will just release it once.
That's all they have to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Unlike Skyrim.
Yes. They don't have to release it on your refrigerator. You get more sales.
all right, so after we got to see that 30-second clip and understood that was coming out in 2022 is what we got to see as the year. What do you guys think in that time frame? Do you think we're going to see it at the beginning of 2022 or the end of 2022 as a holiday game?
I'm thinking it's going to be a holiday release. Holiday release, possibly to coincide with the new Switch model, if we get one.
Okay.
I think they want it to be earlier, but we'll just have to see how things pan out. Is it just it having a 2022 release date? I don't think they're quite ready for it yet.
And they didn't seem too confident that 2020. They said they're aiming for
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, the whole aiming language, makes me think if we get it by holiday, that's maybe best case scenario, unfortunately.
Could it be a situation?
But
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say I'm trying to keep my expectations low, so so I want to be disappointed.
Right.
I said, no, could it be a situation that the game could be ready for like, because I was thinking about this earlier today, the game could be ready by like March of 2022, but they have like expansion material they won't have with it, but they want to finish that still, so that pushes the game back further into 2022 because they don't release the game until the expansion material is ready to be released also, so that stuff stays on a timeline. Or is that not how programming, manufacturing works? They can release the game before the expansion material is done.
Oh yeah, they did. I mean, last time I don't believe they had the expansion material ready when they released it. Not all.
Okay.
Yeah, Nintendo is usually good not working on TLC content until after the game's launched, because that puts a bad taste in people's mouth. I don't remember the game, but there was a 3DS, I think, from Capcom early on in its cycle, where they had day one DLC it was literally already on the. It just needed a flag to unlock it, and so like that. That's it. That's
I can't remember. I know what game you're talking about, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. So Nintendo's usually been careful about, they'll say we have a roadmap and this is what we're planning, but they usually don't start early, other than early planning of the other major coding until after the game's launched. That's why it's 6 to 12 to 18 months later before we see it.
If it goes to like
Gonna
the
hold that
holiday,
carrot out just far enough.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like if it goes to the holiday of 2022, then how long have we been getting teasers and trailers for the game? Then will that be like 2.5 years?
Well, we've
Yeah, it was
been
19, right?
we've been
19
sitting on
first
that.
one came out.
Yeah, we've been sitting on that first trailer for a while because they
2
haven't
years.
been sharing anything after that, other than we're still working on it. But they haven't shown anything more.
Prime 4 has been 4 years since we saw the title.
Yeah. Until now, until this E3 where we did get to see more footage with the game. So, thankfully, it looks like we're closer because they did show something. But again, 2022, what does that mean? Although, one example, I think when I was in the Nintendo Pals, they mentioned one example is the Pokemon game that they mentioned was coming out in 2022, early 2022. And then, a week or two later, they dropped it to be January. It was like January 2022. They gave it more specific month for the 3D one. So, which is very interesting. So, but that, again, that's Pokemon Company doing that too. So, a little bit different, I suppose. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. 2022. I'm hoping we get something like maybe a title at the Game Awards show this year. And that will, I think, tell us how far along we are. If we don't get anything at all, then that will probably scare us to think that, okay, it's probably later 2022.
Yeah, I agree. If we see a title, it'll probably be Marchish. It'll be later.
Yeah.
I think if nothing, it's just giving us the year, sort of. It lets Nintendo make sure that they have enough wiggle room to try to, let the programmers do their thing, stitch everything together, make sure that the T crossed, the I's are dotted, just to make sure, so that they don't rush.
Yeah, and they'll delay if it needs to. We look at Animal Crossing. That was originally a 2019 game and got delayed into 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Nintendo, a lot of companies going crunch, and that's bad PR. Nintendo's notorious in doing crunch and giving them the breathing room. We're starting to hear that more smaller studios. So hopefully we start hearing that from the bigger ones too.
Yes. And maybe there's a possibility.
Back when I was...
Go ahead, Vin.
I was just going to say, back when I was in military public affairs, depending on the situation, we would either, go with maximum disclosure, minimum delay. That was usually whenever something bad happened. But, if it's something that, that we wanted to sort of just keep on, on people's minds, minimum disclosure, maximum delay. You see what I mean by that, sort of as a, general rule of thumb of setting a timeline for sharing what information you have so far on a project.
I looked it up, Jesse. It was Capcom put out Street Fighter X Tekken with fighters on the disc that you had to pay for when the game released. I believe Dragon called me
Boo.
out well in chat, but that's what it was. So they were already on the disc when they sold it, but you pay the DLC price in order to unlock them, which is really sketchy.
Yeah, that sucks.
Paywall.
Real sketch.
Well, they did say the president of Nintendo did say that that when someone asked about the chip shortages, you know, how it's affecting Nintendo, they did say that the chip shortages is affecting their plans. I know I'm not quoting him exactly what he said, but essentially he was saying that the chip shortages are impacting what Nintendo's plans are. So, with that being said, could it be that we are supposed to get a Super Switch, I'll call it, or like Jesse likes to call it, the Mark IV, right? 3, sorry, so the Mark III. So, that the reason why they can't launch, or they're hoping for 2022 launch, is that they're also hoping to tie this with a Super Switch launch. I know this is going to drive Sam crazy because Sam wants us to drop the Super Switch talk, but I can't do it. I gotta talk about it. So, but that's was what I was thinking, is maybe that's why they can't say when it's supposed to come out, because it is going to tie, or they want to tie the sequel to the newer version of the Switch that could potentially handle Breath of the Wild 2 better, is a possibility. What do you guys think?
I think it makes sense. I mean, my take on it is, at this point, I think barely we are going to get some new version of a Switch. Because I can't see for the next 10 years we having this model, with this model, this Switch for the next 10 years, and so that's what they're going to do. That from a marketing standpoint just sounds like disaster if you want to stay relevant in this gaming industry. And so I think a new model will come out at some point sooner rather than later. And so I could totally see them trying to like staple the new model, and so this can be kind of, this is our flagship, and here's a game to enjoy on this new flagship model for you to have. And I agree with a lot of people. I think if they're smart about it, they'll make sure that it's backwards compatible for your gaming library that you currently have. Otherwise, they're going to piss off a lot of their customer base and say goodbye to a lot of money coming into their pocket.
I agree 110%, because when the first Switch dropped, there was nothing else like it out there. Microsoft, Sony, they didn't have a dog in this new fight, this hybrid console that you could play at home and then take with you, and easily share and play with others, and all of this. That was what, 2017, right? That was 2017. Now it's 2021, and you've got Mika coming out. You've got Steam and their Steam Pal that we're just now hearing about. Yeah, it's not so much of a new idea anymore, and I agree that if Nintendo is going to stay relevant in this area, they're gonna need to move and do something on this. By the way, the Amiibo presentation was great. I hope we can touch on that at some point.
The only thing that I could think of is that Nintendo is not going to be in any rush to move a new model out. One, because the current model still sells almost as well as it always has. Two, they will always leverage their first-party game sales and titles as the big, it's the big leverage for Nintendo. So as long as they're still making the party titles that they do that sell as well as they do, Animal Crossing sold almost 30 million units in a year. If they can move that kind of stuff, why why does Nintendo have to bring out a next model yet? There hasn't been a, been a crisis to push them to. This isn't a Wii U situation where they have to scramble to come out with the next thing. They're sitting on top with almost 100 million units, probably by the end of the year, where the other competition hasn't even probably, they're struggling in the same boat with the chips to sell consoles. You still can't find a PlayStation 5 in a store. They don't even have store shelves yet. So, as much as I would love to have that next iteration of console, I don't think there's that mega rush to get it out there. I think Nintendo's going to sit where they're sitting now for as long as they can until they feel like they need to push it out.
Did that happen with the Wii?
Yeah, I agree with you, John.
With the Wii, did the
Congrats, Solo.
sales drop in the Wii, and that's what preempted them to come out with the Wii U? Is that what kind of like the
The Wii sales started kind of tanking around year 4.
Yeah.
Because, the PS3 and the 360 was in their, third and fourth and fifth year as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Wii is just starting to really show its age, only being a 480p system.
Yeah, this is a little bit different situation with the Switch. I think that it's reaching a lot more different audiences, and it's actually relating to gamers, where the Wii was trying to sell itself as a family-only system.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the timing, kind of like what Jesse said, is its competition was right on its back whenever sales started dropping off on the Wii. You don't have that right now with other consoles, with the PS4 and Xbox One kind of declining. They're ramping down where they're not going to support it as much, and they're going to have to start really leaning on the PS5 and Series X and S to start picking up the workload, but there just isn't enough of them out there. They're struggling in the same sense.
So you don't see them doing like a tier system then, like as far as like at any point saying,
Well,
we still
I do.
have the OG, but then like we're gonna have this other tier that will kind of like be targeted more toward you chaps that are more hardcore gamers, and you can pay for that system and pay more of a premium price, and you get more of this more premium experience. And we still have our other model out there because it's selling like hotcakes that like your average Joe and Jane that comes in and just picks up a Switch, or the grandma that's picking up a Switch for the grandkids and stuff, just wants to grab. But if you're more like people like us, you're wanting that more that nicer, shinier.
Nintendo isn't ever really one to really play off of that though, because all their games are really, they're not really looking to sell you a game that is shiny graphically or anything like that. They're more gameplay focused, and I guarantee whatever they do come with is going to play everything that we play today on a Switch. It's just going to look a little bit nicer and a little bit faster, which again tells me that they don't have the urgency to push that out right away. They're going to wait until the time that they need to. It's kind of like their ace up their sleeve to get it out there. That's the only reason why I don't think I would love to have it. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that it's going to come out like everyone expects it to. I think it's probably going to be next year sometime. It might be early next year. I think it's out a little ways.
I think for me personally,
Yeah,
I'll put out
agree.
there. I think it's next year. I think developers, even game developers, and I've seen so many articles with game developers talking about how the system is starting to show its age, and there's show hints as far as like I don't know if we really want to port anything to that system anymore now because it's such labor intensive. And so I say like it's next year would be when I would say like something move would be.
If that is happening,
Yeah.
we're definitely not seeing it as a result right now. You're still getting tons of games coming over to this from third parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the whole cloud gaming thing, right? With was the latest example from the Guardians of the Galaxy game, right? Who would have thought that was going to come in any aspect? Obviously, cloud, I think, just enables Nintendo to keep up. Than they have been
I
in
did
the past.
I didn't get to see that one before the Avengers game.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise, and I've been trying to read in to some of the comments that Doug Bowser was making around redefining the cycle of the console, gaming consoles, or something to that effect. I was listening to the Nintendo Power podcast today, and they had him on for review, and that could either mean like this whole the 3 concept, right? It's just the next iteration in the family of Switch consoles. But I tend to more to John, like you, like they're not getting the pressure at this point. They've got the 100 million install base. Why mess with something good at this with all their first party games able to keep up and sell as good as they are?
Oh, and
Believe me, I'm going to buy it. My household will probably have 2 or 3 new ones by the time it comes out.
Since year 2 or 3 of the Switch,
it just
all we hear from Nintendo is that this is going to be a 10-year life cycle console. They're like, we're going to expand it out. You don't do that by releasing your midterm iteration in year 4. So
they said 10 years.
That's what they keep saying. They want it to last double what an average life cycle is of consoles.
Everyone, I think Sony has said they wanted a 10-year life cycle, and the PS3 came close. I think it was like 8, but
PS2 did a 12-year, right?
What was that?
PS2 is like close to 12 years, I think, almost.
Well, if you're counting the overlap after PS3 launched while PS2 was still in support, but most people, as soon as the PS3 is launched, PS2 they cut that off. In terms of what the life cycle is.
As far as how you determine generation.
Yeah, and then normally there is a little bit of overlap, unless you're Nintendo. As soon as Switch was out, Wii U did not exist anymore.
That's just because that was already dead before the Switch came out. But again, though, I think the Switch is kind of on something where it's a first in the fact that right now we're not seeing the normal decrease of sales of consoles like we normally do in a console life cycle. Even in PS4, by year 4, you were already starting to see a slowdown. Your big peak was like 2 and 3. So with the Switch, it just keeps going. I think price point helps too.
And the pandemic
Switches were sitting on shelves like the Mario Game & Watch.
Yeah.
Then maybe we'd have more of an argument to push it out sooner,
Well, for a while, Switches were on shelves.
Like
in 2018, it was pretty easy to get one, but then 2019, 2020 happened, and it was just as hard to get a Switch as it is to get a PS5.
Yeah, I've seen some Switch lights.
I think back in 2018, the game library wasn't. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I've seen a lot of Switch lights on shelves now, like the Targets I'm around, and of all places, like we were in like Belks this past weekend, and they had like 10 Switch lights for sale right there in Belks that you can like. So yeah, I mean they're out there now and stuff like that. So I mean, it's sales number wise,
I see the lights, but not the standard console all that much.
Yeah,
I'm kind of wondering.
They get them in every now and then still.
Kind of wondering why they're like, it doesn't seem like the light's doing as well as they wanted it to me. I can't remember the last time they shared sales numbers, but
It's
like
been
you guys, I see them all the time.
It's been pretty consistently 2 for every one, normal Switch for every light. So even from the start, outside of that first launch boom, that ratio has been pretty consistent.
I don't have these numbers in front of me, but I would like to wonder how it compares to the 2DS to 3DS sales numbers. Like I want to say that the 2DS sold a lot better than what the Switch Lite is selling, like ratio wise.
I have those numbers. I actually compared that. So let me find.
Of course, 2DS is being sold for $70, including Mario Kart 7. So that that's like pretty much like a free game.
Yeah, Yeah,
It does help. That's what I'm saying. Price point definitely is a huge factor in how this stuff works.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I bought 3 Switches for my house, so trust me, I wouldn't have done that had the Switch been $500. No.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing all the same that you guys are. There's Switch lights are everywhere. All the retail stores around me have at least 20 on hand at all times. Where the regular Switch console, there may be two or three if they have one at all. And here lately, it's always the Animal Crossing one. I've been seeing more Animal Crossing Switches in stores
Oh,
than ever, like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Every store in my town has them.
yeah. I don't get out to Walmarts and Targets anymore like I used to, so I don't have that visibility.
All right.
Here we go.
So I'm sharing some
school-
numbers
school time.
from the last report, and then I put together a comparison of the Switch compared to the combination of not just the 2DS or anything like that, but just the combination of, say, the Wii U and the 3DS / 2DS, that whole family of systems there, to compare. Is that the numbers you were looking for, or are you looking specifically for 2DS?
Yeah, I was pondering the breakdown of 2DS to 3DS sales, that ratio.
The 2DS
compare
to
it to
3DS?
Switch.
Okay,
Yeah, to compare it to Switch Lite to Switch sales.
gotcha.
Because it seemed like towards the end there, they were selling that wedge like 1-in-1. Like those would come in stores and they would be gone just as fast as the 3DS.
Yeah, that might be a little bit harder to find.
Yeah,
I see 2DS as of September 2018, so it probably does not include new 2DS XL.
No.
Sold just shy of 9.7 million. So the 3DS still sold a hell of a lot more. They're like, what,
Oh,
68 million?
Mm.
Including all the XLs and news and
All 8 iterations of it.
I will say this though. I mean, we're talking about the new Switch. You know, when the new model comes, stuff like that. I mean, me having the Switch I've got right now. I remember the first time I got it, I'd like told my wife, I'm like, God, this thing is like Nintendo's got lightning in a bottle with this thing right here. That's my exact quote that I told her. And you know, like if they don't come out with a new Switch for another 10 years or another 8 years, then I know I'm a pretty much verbal advocate for the new Switch model to come out. I'll still be happy with the Switch model that I currently have, and I'll still get tons of fun out of it and still enjoy playing it just as much. And I won't be irritated or angry or disappointed if it takes another 5 years for them to come out with a new model. But because just the system that we have right now is fun. And I remember I had to rub my eyes again watching the footage of the Life is Strange in the stream that they did, because I'm like, God, look at the graphics on that thing.
Yeah.
And the Monster Hunter Rise. I mean, for what it is, I mean, it still amazes me some of the stuff that they're able to like do with it, and the graphics that they can pull off with it. I'm just like, man, this is phenomenal. And
Yeah, it's a great point, Solo, and I appreciate you bringing us back down to earth.
I mean, just saying, because I mean, like, although I know I do a lot in the Discord chat, and I'll own it, and I know I said I don't hear a lot. I mean, I'm more of an advocate for the new model needs to come and stuff like that. But it's not coming from a place of me saying I'm disappointed in what I've got now or what I have right now.
Yes,
It's grown
very
old
true.
with me. It's not that at all, because I'm still love it, and you know, would I ever let somebody take it from me or buy it from me? No, In fact, I mean, I thought when they come out with a new model, I'll probably keep the same one I have, and I won't do any kind of trade in, trade up.
Yeah,
And because I have sentimental value with the one I have right now.
that's a good point.
I'm still playing my day one.
Yep,
Launch
same
Switch.
here. I think more from
Same.
my point of view, I can't speak for everybody else, but for my point of view, I am speaking in regards to having a Switch, a Super Switch is what I like to call it. So because of it, I want Nintendo to compete. I'm a fan of Nintendo, so I want them to do well. I want them to, I know they're not going to compete graphically with the, PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S, but they can stay close enough with an up, what the rumors are talking about with being able to have more power behind behind, say, a Wi-Fi chip. If they are going to do more cloud games, they're going to have to enhance that Wi-Fi chip.
If the Achilles heel of the Switch,
Or have Ethernet in the dock.
or have Ethernet if you want to have it docked, yes, or do what they were talking about with a bigger screen, just a little bit, just little things like that. It doesn't have to have much else other than those little things that have been rumored about. So that's why I promote that myself, is like, I really am hoping for that, just like we've seen before, iteration of a new handheld, although it is a hybrid. So but we have to also keep in mind that it is a different market because of it is a hybrid. This is new for them. It isn't like the typical handhelds they had before, and it's not like the typical home consoles they had before. So how do they approach it? The reason why I think a lot of us speculate that they are going to do a third level of the Switch is because they are fans of Apple. They've said that. And who knows if they've made game plans to say, yes, we are going to come out with the hardware. The only thing we can use is what's been said and what Nintendo's history is, and we can speculate on that. And that's another reason why I hope for a iteration. The other thing too is I look at the history with Breath of the Wild, the first one. When we had rumors of the NX, and even Nintendo saying yes, they are working on an NX, and we knew Breath of the Wild was coming out, or whatever the name of it was, and we kept getting the little bits and pieces that we did at that time. They did delay it here and there, but they never said why, until we learned that was because they were delaying it possibly for the alignment to come out with the Switch, right? Even though they did bring it out both for the Wii U and the Switch, it was kept being delayed, and then it's coming out with the Switch as well, as you can still play it on the Wii U. So that's another aspect of it that I look at to think, are they also delaying this to come out with, it'll be on the Switch and maybe the Switch, Super Switch, or the game will allow you to play it on both? So those are just some of the thoughts I have when I think of this stuff, but definitely, I don't, like you were saying, Solo, is I don't need it to I'm not disappointed in what I have. It's just I want to see Nintendo compete, and I want to be able to play those games that are coming out beyond what this current Switch probably could handle.
Yeah, I agree with the Wi-Fi chip. Yeah, because I'm doing speed test with this little app that it has on there or whatever, and I'm just like, oof. Yeah, I'm like, please. Yeah, I want a better Wi-Fi chip.
Speaking of Breath of the Wild for the Wii U, here's a little RetroLogic tip for you guys. If you own a new copy, don't open it, because it's starting its climb already. It's up to about $160 right now for a sealed Wii U Breath of the Wild.
Too late. Mine's already opened. But it's still in the box.
Out on the Wii U.
Yeah. We still have our copy because Sam didn't have a Switch at the time and he wanted to play it, so we got him that for his birthday. But yeah.
I bought a clearance copy at Best Buy for $25.
Nice.
When they were clearancing them all out.
Is it unopened?
Yeah, no, mine's sealed.
Nice.
I knew this day would come.
Yeah.
And I had no reason to open it because I already have a Switch.
You knew this day would come. Right?
This day will come.
Is that why everything behind you is sealed right now?
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of them that are open too, but.
Oh, okay. I was looking at
the
all
ones
those Amiibos that are sealed and everything.
I got some open ones.
I was like, crack those seals, let them breathe.
Usually, if I want to open them, I'll buy two. But,
okay.
I didn't have the space to keep mine closed. I had to open them all so I could put them on the shelf. Or in a storage box, because I bought a special Amiibo storage box, and now I got too many Amiibos, they won't fit in there anyway, so. But we actually got a lot of comments too. I want to make sure I catch up on who are the peeps that are watching on streams, what they're commenting on. Especially, it looks like Ian Barry has a lot to say in our conversation here. So let me go back here, make sure I don't miss anything. You think Skyward Sword will be playable in VR like Breath of the Wild is? I don't think they're doing anything in the VR stuff there. Ian Barry also says Super Ends will play its own games and back compat with Switch games. Methinks. I like the methinks part. Ian also says exactly. Switch Pro Super will be next Christmas at the earliest. Same with Mario Kart 8 selling so well still. Mario Kart 9 will hopefully launch with new Switch. And then also says, only way it could make old games look better is with an upscaler, and then do you even need a new chip? So that, I think, comes with, Jesse, I think you were talking about a dock that would upscale.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be technology in the dock to handle the upscaling. So right now the current dock is pretty much dumb. It's just a pass-through signal, USB-C to HDMI. So like, a new dock would need to have a graphics chip within itself to work alongside the Switch graphics chip to do the upscaling.
Yeah, similar to a docking station for a laptop with the extra GPU.
Ian also asked the question, I guess, NVIDIA are busy making chips for cars these days, so you think it'll be a while before they can churn out the numbers Nintendo will want? NVIDIA is a big company, so I think they could handle any request from a client, if you will, that needs chips. And plus, they probably, like Nintendo always does, they use older chips anyways, so it could be stuff they already have built.
I mean, I guess the question is, on the chip shortage, is it what's the reasoning for the shortage? Is it a shortage because the factories weren't working for, a good part of COVID? Or is it because there's actually a material shortage that they, can't source the materials needed to manufacture the chips?
Probably both.
Yeah, it's a combination. And
Yeah,
it could
most of the raw materials come out of China, so
yeah.
And then last but not least, he also says new NVIDIA chip should be a streaming beast. Gotta think that's why they started this partnership, I'd say. Long term, they all want us to subscribe and stream to a service. So, there's lots in the conversation. Ian, you need to be part of our conversation by joining us at the dinner table. And you can do that by being a Patreon or a Twitch subscriber.
Come to the table.
Come to the table, and you can voice your comments there. So, with that, any other thoughts on Zelda? All right. Before we get off Jesse, you got something else?
Well, before we leave the show, I wanted to bring up probably something we don't want to record. So end your recording, and then we can bring it up.
All right. So before I end my recording, though, I do want to ask, is there anything else you were excited about in regards to the Nintendo part? And, of course, there's always cocktail hour afterwards. We can talk about overall E3, your excitement. But before we end the recording part, what else did you have for Nintendo's E3 that you want to talk about?
I was glad to finally see.
We're super psyched about Cruis'n Blast. Oh, sorry, Solo, you go.
No, you hit it right on.
Were you saying the same thing?
Yeah, right on the head, mate. I was like,
Dude.
I've said it so many times. Like, Nintendo's on that arcade game. Why is it not on my Switch?
Yes.
I love the Cruis'n series. I have such great memories of doing sleepovers with my buddy, and must have been grade school playing Cruis'n USA.
Nice.
And the damn Redwoods level, always smacking into the trees.
Yes.
But yeah, Cruis'n Blast just looks like a blast. So
yes.
I'm excited for it.
Now,
and then,
did you guys
remember?
Do you guys remember Cruis'n as being under that umbrella? Because I completely forgot about Cruis'n games from Nintendo as a racing game. Because the only one I could think of at the time when trying to make predictions was Excite Truck. I even completely forgot about Cruis'n games.
Oh no, Cruis'n's always been a Nintendo product.
Yeah, I know, but I forgot. It was like I completely forgot that being available as a prediction.
Yeah, I still have all my N64 cartridges. I've got Exotica and USA and World.
Nice.
I didn't forget about it because I'm going to the arcade and taking my son and stuff like that around these like the Dave and Buster's and places like that we have around here.
Yep.
And yeah, he always wants to play that one, and and
Yeah.
so choosing your paint, or get the extra nitros and stuff, and
I love those
yeah,
games
so
there at the
it's
arcade.
been on my mind. I'm like constantly like looking online and
Yeah.
trolling it, saying when's it coming to Switch? When's it coming to Switch? So yeah.
That's
I've been
what
trolling
Mario
it.
Kart
Yeah,
9 will
yeah.
be. Is a port of Mario Kart GP.
There you go. And I'm fine with that.
In VR.
Yeah,
Yes, in VR.
for me,
So everyone can
cruising
throw
was
up.
the best thing to do at the theater before the movie. Best thing to do at the theater was to pump a few quarters into Cruising USA and
Nice.
just run a few tracks before going in.
Or coming out, depending on where you came out at.
Better Area 51.
Yeah.
Yeah, right next to there. Yeah.
Nice. And what else you guys
Yeah,
got?
I'm excited for that one. And
WarioWare.
I was just gonna say that the WarioWare looks awesome. Knowing
Yeah,
that we're gonna get some
WarioWare.
updates to Mario Golf 2 is sweet. I'm super psyched for that. But WarioWare looks like a ton of fun.
Yes. I'm excited for the golf league we have in our Discord too, involving the Mario Golf. So
Registrations are open.
yes, registrations are open. I like what Drew's got going on there. So
You
100
just need to say two
Yeah,
words.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You just need to say 2 words to enter.
monthly
I'm in.
min. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, there's $150 in prizes too, which is crazy. He was able to, I don't know what he had to do to get that money, but I'm kind of afraid to ask. But no, I'm kidding.
Four of us on here right
Dad's
now.
After Dark.
Yeah.
I'm just speculating, but he'll probably. My guess is he'll have like prizes for top 3 or top 4, and plus then the random roll.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
Because I think 4 of us are in there, right? That are on here right now. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I signed up.
Yep.
Yeah.
5 then.
Yep. I'm signed up too. So
Oh, so that's 5. Okay, yeah.
definitely looking forward. What else you guys got? Anything else? Well, we're not
Mario Rabbids.
Mario Rabbids.
Mario
2.
Rabbids looks good. Yeah.
Yes.
Sparks of Hope. Rabbids in space.
It's in
My daughter-
space.
The Rabbit Spock.
My daughter loved seeing Rabid Rosalina with her messed up little like Luma Spark doll thingy.
Yes.
Her whole
Puffy.
attitude of
And just like
go on a new adventure.
and sliding out of her chair. Yeah. I kept laughing at that. It was great.
And then that ends up being her weapon.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was pretty funny too. So I'm excited. I was excited about Nintendo. I know there were some people like Matt who was not excited because he said there was nothing that appealed to him. And Justin, I'm not sure. We're still waiting to hear from him. He hasn't spoken since E3 because of
He passed out due to boredom.
because he was he got disappointed by not getting his DK game. So, but
Yeah, I got led by the rumors.
yes. So, but I don't know
It's
if
still coming.
yeah. I mean, I could tell he was totally disappointed. He was trying to be like, "Oh, I'm happy for you guys," but
Or the DK game could be the Star Fox of this E3.
right?
Maybe Donkey Kong will be an additional character into the game as a substitute for II.
Maybe.
Well, Sonic and Tails are, so I can see it.
There was one game I think he was excited about that it sounds like he's actually got the opportunity to try out, which is Strange Brigade. That was shown at E3, and I actually was interested in that as well as Marty. Jesse, I don't know if you were interested in that one, Star Brigade.
I don't think I was.
Okay. But he's got his hands on it, and he's trying it out. So there was something he was excited about, but hopefully we'll get to hear from him as well. But like I said, there's people who were disappointed. There were people who were just like, okay, maybe a C or a B out of it. I thought it was an A. I thought they were on par with Microsoft for having a good showing for the people who have their systems. So I thought that I gave them both A's. If you had to give Nintendo a grade, what grade would you give them?
B+ for me.
Okay. Fair.
Solid B.
A as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
give him
I'd
an A.
say B plus A minus in that area for me. I think.
Great.
I think I think I said this last night. They had better shows, but in comparison to the rest of E3, they were the show.
Yes, the bar was low. So, but I do think that so I think they both got A's for their for what they were showing for their audiences. Obviously, numbers, viewers, Nintendo won, as we talked about yesterday in the show. I think I got it up right here. So yeah, let me see. Did you have that at the beginning or end of that? It was at the end, right?
It was near the end of the notes. Yeah, that was like 3.1 million. I'm wondering if that part of that has to do with Nintendo before the show Tuesday morning. At least the Japanese Twitter account asked people to not restream their content. I think they wanted to drive people to
Numbers to
the
watch it,
official
yeah.
stream.
3.1 million people watched Nintendo's presentation, where the next closest was Xbox for 2.3 million.
Yeah. Our stance on that was, since if they would have said it in English, we probably would have abided by it. But since it was they only said it in Japanese, so they didn't give any message to North American people. So we went with it, even though there were people who, including Twitch Gaming, who did stop their rebroadcast.
Yep. Thanks for the chat. We got Chris HL94, of course. He said he gives it a B+ as well, and it's just a pretty good grade for him, considering he did say that he didn't get much from Nintendo's presentation either.
Games.
Yeah, there was no NHL 94 rewind.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, it would have been an A+. Plus.
yes,
There
exactly.
you go. 2 pluses to that A.
Correct. So with that, any final thoughts on E3 before we sign out from the recording side, the streaming side, and then we continue on with dessert or cocktails?
Go buy
All right.
Advance Wars.
Go buy Advance Wars and Metroid Dread. Yes.
Yeah. Throw that
Christ.
out there for Dan.
Support your games. All right, everybody, let's sign off with a toast like I usually do. Have your drinks ready. I actually have my strawberry daiquiri here. that I've been drinking here.
I have my dihydrogen monoxide.
Yes. He's drinking the hard stuff. All right. Anyways, as I always have here, I have my toast. Is that a
Rubbing alcohol.
rubbing alcohol?
Wow.
That's hard right there. That's hard right
Yeah.
there.
John, don't
That's
drink
the
that,
hard stuff.
please.
Yeah.
John, geez, what kind of day did you have? Geez. All right.
This is
So, with my toast, may your gaming time be plentiful and fun, your backlog short, and you and your families blessed. Good night, everybody. Good night, people watching the streams. Good night, peeps.
Night.
Good.
Oh, good retro logic, Dan. You got in too late. Now you got to come join us for cocktail hour. Good night, everybody.